So about a year ago, I found this ditch and I really wanted to build some DIY obstacles in here, and I've started, but I took a little bit of hiatus. In this video, we're going to be jumping back in, talking about building this illegal DIY skate park. I quickly want to talk about the word illegal because Burnside, Marginal Way, FDR, Washington Street are all illegally built skate parks that eventually became like city sanctioned skate parks that now the community still to this day manage. They fundraise for it. So with that said, don't click away just because some things are illegal. In my opinion, there's plenty of illegal things that do really good for communities and just for society in general. So I hope you enjoy. Now this ditch that I'm building in might not become the next Burnside or Washington Street, but my goal is to keep building until we have something that is really fun to skate. So today we're going to be building a DIY kicker ramp. Super excited. I actually haven't built here in like over a year. So I actually started building these forms yesterday at home. So I'll explain quickly how I got to here, and then we'll cut you up to where I am now about to pour the concrete. I previously made some quarter pipe forms, so instead of starting from scratch, I used these. I started with making a line where I wanted to cut these forms. I used a 2x4 to make a quick line where I wanted to cut the forms to make them a little bit shorter so they're no longer a quarter pipe and more of a kicker ramp with transition. Then after I cut the transition from our kicker ramp, I cut a 2x4 piece of wood that will be used for sport later in this video. Well, I got all the supplies down here. That was the first step. I got 6 bags of Quikrete. I actually got the 60-pound bags because they're a lot easier to carry when you're doing solo builds like I'm always doing here versus the 90-pound bags, even though you do save some money on the 90-pound bags. So first thing is first, I'm actually gonna drill in some 2x4s that I also cut yesterday right here into our forms and kind of line everything against the wall. See how we can kind of frame it up with the wood so that we can just fill it with concrete. It's gonna be nice and easy. This isn't gonna be a super big build. I kind of wanted to just get back in the groove. I haven't been building with concrete in quite a while. Like I said, it's been some time. So I figured we'd start with something a little bit easier before going into something really difficult. I do want to build a lot more in this spot. Now that I know it hasn't gotten torn out, people have tagged, it's gotten painted over, the city knows about it, and yeah, so far it's a go. So I'm gonna try to do 3 bags for each launch ramp. And the idea is I want to be launching into this Wallride right here. It has been raining down here because it is winter time. But I'm not too worried about the rain because rain actually, I think, will help this cure a little bit. As long as it's not like pouring rain right when we do it, it will just help the concrete set. So the idea is I want to have the kicker like out here, about here. And I already set the width, so it has to be like this wide because of the 2x4s. Be jumping into this wall right here. Let's screw this 2x4 in first just to get that foundation. I'm gonna make sure to also leave this exposed a little bit. So I'm gonna try to really like push this back so that water can still come out. I wanna be safe and not like explode our concrete with water. So I'm gonna try to avoid this hole covering concrete. I'm sure like if a carpenter or somebody else watches this video that actually knows what they're doing, they're gonna be like, no, don't do it this way. That's all right. There's a lot of ways to do things. This is just like freestyle, you know? This is why prepping is really, really important. Then I kind of block it off. Now the whole idea with this wood is just to save our concrete from going all over the place. It just keeps it intact because it doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to keep it from floating around. We do want a nice edge up here, so I might actually do that first. All right. Concrete does like expand when you're adding it into wood too, so you do want it to be on there somewhat sturdy. We're getting somewhere. I think that's pretty good. And the other thing is I have the cinder blocks that we brought, and those will help us from things falling over. So, you know, get something nice and heavy. It doesn't have to be a cinder block, but the idea is this will keep us from having to drill into the ground because that just creates a whole nother aspect of needing the right tools and all that kind of stuff. So this is basically just going to keep this in position, keep it weighted. Much more professional ways to do this, but I think you'll get some tips on how concrete works and hopefully just get to see a fun session after this. I'm excited to like ollie into this. We don't want anything hitting the edge because we want to trowel this eventually. So you want to make sure that all this is still nice and open over here. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. Might have to go like that. You can definitely use like scrap wood or something. You don't need to get fresh wood. All this is scrap wood from other projects. All right, I think it's looking pretty good as far as the form goes. Now what I'm gonna try to do is actually add some filler in here. So there's some rocks, dirt, whatever you really find. You want it hard. You don't want like trash, for example. You want some stuff that's really hard, ideally rock. So find a couple of rocks to put in here. Now the whole idea to adding more like kind of rocks, instead of just filling it all with concrete, save yourself some money. You know, don't need to fill it all with concrete. It's not necessary. Concrete really only needs to be like 3 inches deep. I'm actually not going to do rebar in here either because it's such a little spot. I don't think I'm going to need it. More rocks. I want some smaller rocks now. Underneath here, I have concrete already. I have rocks. Like, there's a lot of stability. It's going to shake a little bit. And if it does crack, that's totally fine. This isn't my backyard. Small rocks allow it to like get into other little places. Now we're getting to the point where down here, I do want a lot of this bottom area to be concrete. All right, we're getting there. I'm gonna fill it with a little more rock, pebble. 2 more good rocks I need, and then I think we're good to go. The other thing that's nice about these rocks is it's kind of keeping things into place. I can use it to lean against the form. We're looking pretty good right here because I want to just skim that. So you can see there's this one little area over here that's exposed where concrete will fall through. Might be a little overboard, but let's see if this works. I think I can maybe like pitch it sideways. It's almost perfect. I might have to put a bag behind that so it doesn't flip over though. Basically, we have this whole nice area now. It's all blocked off, ready to go. Just gotta fill it with concrete. Got my trowels over here. Got a pole float, got the marshmallow float, got a piece of wood, because I'll probably start with the wood, just scraping it up once we get the concrete wet. Got some handles. Where's my mask? I had a mask. Oh, there it is. Nice. Found it. You know, save your lungs, live longer when you're mixing concrete. So, let's do this, baby. I don't want to wait too long. Some people did see me, like I was saying earlier when I came down here, so I'm trying to be a little quick today. Get in and out fast as you can. Ideally, this ditch is pretty mellow, but I still don't want to blow it. So yeah, we got this bad boy of water. I don't know if this is gonna last us 6 bags. This is what is this thing, 3, right? No, 5 gallon. So this is a 5 gallon. Basically, I'm gonna start mixing the concrete and just throwing it right on there. Not worrying too much about it, where it goes. I'll just show you the process as we do it. I'm gonna try to mix like half the bag, 60 pound, before you go for the full bag, because it just makes things easier. It's winter time, so mixing concrete isn't as hectic in the winter time because it's not gonna cure as fast. So before I add any more concrete, I wanna make sure I get this stuff nice and good. You just don't want any gray parts. I want everything, at least everything wet. Looking good. I think we can add some more. I just add the other bag, other half. Since they're 60-pound bags, it makes it a lot easier to mix. Obviously, as one person, this is the best thing to mix in my opinion. You can mix directly on the ground, which I've done here, but then it leaves kind of a mess in the ground. After we get this mixed up, this whole bag, I'm gonna start putting it on there. And kind of just see. This would be a good test to see like how much one bag gives us, because we have 3 bags allocated to each side, each one of these Wallride. So I want to do a whole nother one of these. All right, once it gets really hard to start mixing, add some more water. It's always easier to add more water than it is to add more concrete. So point is, don't add too much water. Slowly add the water. Bag 1. Ready. Let's get her in there. So probably gonna actually start down below so I can build up. Start on this lower part. You can see how much concrete you get out of one bag. 160-pound bag. It's quite a lot. I don't really need to like shovel each piece out. I can just drop it in there. And then, if we would so like to, you can kind of get the idea things going. Yeah. All right, that's one bag. What do you think? Think we'll be able to fill it all with 2 more bags? It's questionable. We'll see. I mean, obviously you got more tools. You don't need to be opening your trash bag with a trowel, but it's like the more you bring, the more you got to pack up to go. I like to try to get in and out of here quick. Hopefully this will be like, 3 hours, ideally. Second half of the bag going in. Bag 2 is going on there. Now I'm gonna start going up. Try not to waste any concrete. Feel it better. A little more precise. Now, I'm having faith that this will be an easy 3-bagger. This might even be a 2-bag-and-a-half situation. Uh-oh, we already got a hole. That happens. So I'm just gonna try it quickly. Just gonna use this little 2x4, skim it real quick. Using our form, kind of see, kind of see where the dips are. Bag 3, coming in. Don't do that. Now you could dig a little hole like I just did. Fill that. And press all of our concrete to the hole. Now, as you can see, the concrete is pretty wet. I don't know if you can even hear me when I'm talking, like under the thing. I'm sorry, I should take it off when I'm not mixing concrete. So now that I know I'm halfway out of water, I want to do that whole other side. And this stuff is not drying up too quick, but it's drying up. I'm gonna add some of our other concrete we have just for like a light finish into this because it's still pretty wet, and that'll help us skim it, get that nice clean top coat without many rocks in it essentially. So it'll be a little more refined, a little more just cement, less rock. Fill where you think, Now that I shimmy it like that, you see I got all this extra concrete over here. I can move it around, put it in the place it needs to be. It's right here. Let's get some in there. All right, place some by hand where I think it should go. So remember, we have this guide to use the whole way through. So over here on the wall, I'm kind of like keeping this over here. I'm trying to use the guide so that everything is nice and straight. Now that we've got all of our concrete kind of into place, I'm gonna start using our marshmallow float. Essentially, right after your wood float, you wanna use this, and this is gonna be like probably my favorite thing. You get it really, really smooth until you use your final like full float, which is like just the aluminum. But yeah, we're gonna start digging into this thing. And this top is starting to fall down, you can see. I think that's gonna be my challenge, is like keep working that top part up. No, I don't even really want to press down on this. I kind of want to skim it. It's looking pretty good at this point. Honestly, think we can start to really just refine it well, like making sure everything's smooth. There's definitely some lumps in here for sure. So I'm just trying to find them and work them out. Ideally, your lumps already worked out by now. Just want to bring all that goodness to the top. That's what this is doing. All the rocks are going underneath right now. Just exposing that concrete we really want. Nice and smooth. I think the more that top area dries, the easier it will become, but it's definitely gonna be my challenge. I think I'll probably end up going over it, maybe, just like with some Cemental that I wanted to buy earlier. Cemental is like that really fine product. Otherwise, I think it's looking good. With this bottom piece right here, I'm not too worried about that yet. I'll show you what we're gonna do with it. I have a feeling today we're not gonna get to the other side. Maybe I'll start framing it up, but it's definitely taking me longer than I thought it was gonna take me. This is our very final flow. I'm actually gonna wait a little bit longer just to let this cure a little bit before I start hitting it with this, because it's still a little too wet right now. And I don't want it to lose its shape. I want it to stay in the shape. This is not for shaping, this is just for smoothing. All right, now I'm gonna hit it with the pull trowel, try to get that nice clean top surface. And yeah, see how this looks. Try not to mess with things too much. I just want to get some of these bumps out just from our other trowel. I'm gonna shave it. I don't recommend changing the shape sometimes this late, but it was a good enough bump. I feel like it was worth it. A little risky. That was a good call. I always forget like how long concrete takes to dry in the winter time, or just like it just slows the process down, and it's really nice. So much easier to work with. From here, I think the best thing is to just leave it, honestly. So I'm gonna clean up some of our stuff and start migrating to the other side to work on the other Wallride. I don't know if I'm gonna pour it today, but I can at least get the frames, everything set up. Now that we have a nice concreted trowel, that concrete trowel that we were using was for this. So now we got this side. Got this side to do. I'm gonna drill this in. Same thing that we just did, and basically go through the same kind of DIY process. Now the hard part is gonna be from here, a lot of the wood, the scrap wood that I was gonna use as filler is actually being used on our other form. That's still drying. I'll probably be able to pull that form tomorrow. I'll let it cure for at least like overnight. So I think I'm gonna pack up, come back tomorrow. Yeah, it looks like there's supposed to be no rain. It's supposed to be nice all day. So instead of lugging all this concrete out of here or wasting the concrete, I'm gonna risk it. Because I think even if I risk it, worst case scenario, we have good filler. We're back, unfortunately. I haven't been able to come. It's a work week, it's been hard. I'm going against the clock today, so I'm not gonna spend too much time talking. I'll probably do some dialogue over the footage, I'm not sure yet. Or I'll explain later when we come back and we skate it. But right now I'm gonna get straight to business, pull our forms. And I'm actually not gonna pour the second one. I'll explain why later. I actually have a whole nother obstacle idea for this spot. So yeah, first things first, let's pull these forms. And then what I wanna do today is actually add some concrete. It did rain a little bit, as you can see. So yeah, we'll just get into it. I don't wanna waste too much time talking. We got an hour left of daylight right now. This is always such an exciting thing. Oh, our bags actually don't feel too dry. So it rained, but I think the paper stayed pretty good. We might have some hard blocks in there, but this part is gonna be exciting. Get exposed, expose our work. I just gotta get all of our stuff off here that we kept it up with. We're gonna be using these probably later, so it'll be useful. Ready for the big reveal? Watch, it just like falls apart. It's pretty good in there. There we go. Ooh-wee. Look at that nice transition. That's nice. You see how it's a little rocky right here. That's what we're gonna work on. It's super exposed in the back because that's just how we did the form, super freestyle. So what I'm gonna do now, add some of our pro finish, this new stuff I got, add some of our specs mix, some mortar, and basically we just wanna clean up all those edges so it doesn't fall apart. All right, we just wanna sweep off this area, basically where we're gonna add our concrete. So there's like basically 2 inches of concrete right here, which is all we really need. I just wanna add support. Because we didn't add rebar, it's not gonna hold. We're also gonna be fixing this little entrance area, buttering that up with our Type S, basically our mortar and our Type S. Just gonna get everything nice and clean over here, get ready to pour our concrete. Gloves are always nice, if you got them. They're actually like downhill bombing gloves. Look at the top. I'm not gonna worry about being too precise right now. I just want to get into the spot. Nothing fancy. Just want to get it under here, kind of stuff it. I'm gonna add some like training on the side over here too to wally it. I did get one more water because I knew we were running low. And now we can do a water exchange, meaning I can leave one bucket here full as I can. I'll refill one every time I come. Probably end up using all 3 bags just on the filler back here, honestly. This one's feeling a little harder. Probably got some solid areas in it. Yeah. This bag got a little more wet. Still usable. I don't want this to be super, super wet. It could be somewhat dry just so it cures, but not super wet so it's like sloshy. Basically, I just want to build a little support wall right here. All right, this is the last bag of Quikrete we have. This one thing lasted all, what was that, 6 bags? Good to know. 5 gallons, 6 bags. Now, since this is our final bag, we're gonna actually start mixing in some of this mortar. A little bit with Quikrete. We'll weaken it, but I'm not gonna do too much. That should be good. All right, I feel like that's pretty good. In a good place. Now, I'm just gonna like freestyle. DIY people are gonna be like, dude, you gotta shave out the ground. There's so much you're missing out. It's true. It is true. There's a lot more I could be doing, but this is just the easiest possible way. I don't want to bring any power tools down here because it gets really loud and there are neighbors nearby. So I feel like that'd blow out the spot. I'm gonna freestyle, just trowel this. The whole idea is just to add support, not really to be skatable, but I'm gonna try to make it skatable. Build some bottom for it to go up on. Anybody can do this. Thinking about it like, all right, how do I want to skate this? You know, I'm not getting too crazy. I'm gonna pack everything in there nice and tight. That's the most important thing. I need to get up there so I can make sure the open edges aren't there. I don't know if I have enough creep to get over there. I mean, we could leave this little space open and it would be completely fine. I just think it would be nice if we closed it off just because like then it's less likely to get chipped out right here. Because you can see it's really thin. Actually, yeah, it's actually like, wow, really thin right there. Now that I just saw it. So we definitely need to add some support before we skate it. I'll probably have to come back with like one more bag. Fortunately, unless I can finish it all with that Type S, maybe I can do that. I should just keep working. I want to kind of press this down because it's gonna fall off the wall if I just keep screeting it all the way to the top. So I kind of got to level it out a little bit, at least with the Quikrete. Now we're gonna use this Pro Finish. A little easier sometimes to shovel this stuff out. All right, it's quite a lot in there. Way more water than Quikrete because it's so fine. There's no rocks. It's just pure concrete. I do remember stuff dries pretty fast. So now I'm gonna try to hit this little back area just to cover it. That's my main goal right now. All right. So it did end up getting really dark last night. I wasn't able to finish everything that I wanted to finish. Everything was just drying really fast, so I tried to get it to a decent place. I'm not mad about it. I am gonna patch up one little area. I'll show you where in a second, because I think it will add a little bit of integrity. Because we didn't use the rebar, I wanna make sure that there's enough support for this ramp. And I actually left all my supplies down here last night because it got dark and I didn't want to bring everything out of here. I actually want to talk about leaving last night. Something sketchy sort of happened, but basically I left my broom, my shovel, our mixing, all of our forms, everything down here because I just didn't want to be seen with it. But today, this week, maybe not today, but tomorrow before I skate it, I'm going to take everything out. I'm going to clean all the ditch because the city does come down here and they paint these walls. So I want to make it look clean. Even though I'm building stuff, I don't want to leave too much supplies down here. It'd be way more convenient to not have to bring supplies every time. However, I think the risk of blowing it out isn't worth it. Yesterday when I was leaving, I was skating down the street. It's about like a half-mile skate to where my car is, and I have my bucket with all my trowels and stuff. That's the only thing I didn't leave. I didn't leave all my trowels because they kind of cost a lot of money. And yeah, somebody came up, they're riding on a bike, they had a skateboard on their bike. They're like, "Where's the pool at?" I was like, "Oh shit, I don't know where the pool is." And I was trying to be as cool as possible without telling him exactly where the spot is. He's like, "Well, where's it at?" He knew I was building a spot. And I just said, "Hey man, like if you really want to know, I'll tell you." And he's like, "Oh, it's all right. I'll probably just find it," which is totally fine. It's one of those things, like I do want people to come to skate, and I'm not trying to like gatekeep or, you know, not allow people to skate here. I want to build this for the community, other people skating. I just don't want it to get blown out really quick. So I'd be kind of bummed if someone came and they had like 500 friends, and then it was all over Instagram, and then like all of a sudden everyone's down here and the city takes it out, right? Like that's a worst case scenario. But if people are skating around and they're like, "Hey, where's that thing out?" I'm probably going to tell them over time. Also, I'm in this in-between phase. So like when I'm not working on it, everything's done, I'll be a lot more inclined to tell people where it is. The other thing I wanted to mention is bringing all my supplies is kind of sketchy sometimes. There's going to be super citizens that just like want to know what you're doing, and they're, you know, I get it. I like to look out for the community too. Like if people are walking around the neighborhood and they look kind of sus, you're like, "Hey, what's going on?" So the other day when I was bringing all my concrete down here, all my supplies, someone was with their daughter, I think, pushing them in like a stroller and just looking at me like, "What is this guy doing?" And I just told him straight out, I was like, "Hey man, I'm just building a spot down here in this ditch, not hurting anybody." And then he just like gave me the thumbs up because it's like I just wanted to communicate very clearly what was going on. So now that we're back, I'm gonna do a little bit of patchwork. The other thing I wanted to mention, as you can see, I got some fresh clothes on right now. I've been wearing the same clothes because you don't want to wear your nice fresh clothes. Concrete destroys it. Also destroys my hair. Concrete is so coarse, it makes my hair so crazy. But anyways, today we're gonna do a little bit of mix job, and that's why I mentioned it, because I am wearing my nice clothes. I'm not gonna use a shovel. I'm just gonna mix everything with my hand. So let's patch up a little bit of work, and then hopefully we can skate this tomorrow. The little thing that I want to do today is actually just add some concrete in this little area right here. I just don't want these harsh edges, and I want to be able to wall ride right into it. Maybe use some of this. So basically we're just going to fill this area with some of that type S, maybe a little bit of Quikrete. We got the little feather finish done. Now I got to get back to work. We'll come back tomorrow and skate it, clean everything up. But basically from here, just got to let it cure, let it dry. Probably should wait like 2 days, but we did pour the actual kicker ramp like 4 days ago, so it's good. Now we just got to wait for that support to dry up. We are back for a skate session. I'm super excited. One thing I did notice though, I just pulled up, and we definitely had some people come down here and tagging within the last day, and it looks like they had a campfire over here. Maybe they're making some dinner, some lunch. Of course, other people are going to come down here, use this space for whatever they want to use it for, but ultimately I want to keep it clean, so I'm going to even pick up other people's trash and stuff like that. It's so simple, but to me it keeps the spot from getting blown out. Our concrete is dry, pretty hyped. One thing I do want to mention before I get a little skate session, we'll round this video out because it's already pretty too long. I do want to do a quarter pipe over here again, kind of like this hip that I did here, quarter pipe here. I want to do a little bit taller, and then I want to do wall rides around it with coping on it. So that's going to be the next project. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. You can join channel members or use super links if you want to support this project even further. But yeah, just watching this far has really helped me. Let's clean it up and get a little skate session on. It is really early, and I want to get this video out today. So yeah, I'm not going to skate too much. In the next video, there'll be a lot more skating, so make sure to stick around for that.